Hey, what's up guys? This is Nick at BarBend.com. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at Athletic Greens Ultimate Daily. This is definitely one of the most talked about green superfood powder supplements out there. It was launched in 2010 and it quickly grew into one of the most popular on the market. It's well known as being Tim Ferriss's favorite supplement, and it is actually, I think, a bit more nutritious than a lot of other greens powders on the market, which typically deliver a lot of antioxidants, but they're pretty light on vitamins and minerals. So I'm going to get into all that in a little bit, but first, let's see how it tastes. That is very unusually tasty for a green superfood powder. Far and away the most common complaint that you hear with these sorts of supplements is that they tend to have a very earthy, grassy, soily sort of taste. This is really remarkably tasty, so I would say definitely what it tastes like is vanilla and pineapple more than anything else, which would make sense because this does have natural flavoring components from papaya and natural pineapple flavor and natural vanilla flavor and cherry powder and carrot, all of which you can taste. I don't know if there's actual pineapple or vanilla in this, it's just natural pineapple flavor, natural vanilla flavor, but it all comes together to make something that is really remarkably tasty and also free from artificial sweetness. So one of the funny things about superfood powders like this is that a lot of people consider them to be substitutes for fruits and vegetables, even though most of the time these products don't actually have that many vitamins. And this is actually an area where Athletic Greens really stands out because this is actually a pretty good source of vitamins. It's got 700% of your recommended daily intake of vitamin C. There's over 300% of your recommended intake of vitamin E, about 80% of your vitamin A, and 100% or more of most of your B vitamins as well. It's not an amazing source of minerals. Like, it's got a good amount of zinc, 100% of your intake, but like magnesium, calcium, potassium, it's relatively low in, like closer to 10% of your recommended intake. Nonetheless, there are a lot of interesting touches here, like the magnesium is a very absorbable form of magnesium. The vitamin B12, they use methylcobalamin as opposed to the very common cyanocobalamin, which is in most supplements, which some people feel doesn't absorb quite as effectively. So there's a lot of little touches like that that nutrition nerds such as myself are going to really appreciate. And then of course there are all these other ingredients that show that there's a lot more going on here than just the vitamins and minerals. So yes, this is a product that does contain a lot of micronutrients. But the thing with green superfood powders is that they tend to be more about the ingredients than just the vitamins and minerals you'll see on a nutrition label. Because after all, if you just wanted vitamins and minerals, you'd probably get a multivitamin, right? This brings more to the table. There are 75 ingredients here, and instead of breaking them down one by one, I'm just going to talk about the general benefits that they may confer as a whole. So antioxidants are probably the main benefit advertised by most green superfood powders. So by that I mean they contain a lot of ingredients that are really high in antioxidants, like wheatgrass and barley grass and chlorella and spirulina and things like that, with the idea sort of being that even if the product doesn't have that many vitamins and minerals, as is the case with some of Athletic Greens' competitors, they at least are going to give you lots of antioxidants, right? So what's an antioxidant? Despite the fact that the air we breathe is roughly 20% oxygen, oxygen can have negative effects on our cells. Sort of like how oxygen causes metal to rust, it can be associated with cellular damage. So long story short, antioxidants, they can help to reduce some of that cellular damage and in some respects slow the onset of aging. In some respects. There are some vitamins that are antioxidants. Vitamins A, C, and E, those are considered antioxidants. But there are also a lot of ingredients in this product that are also really well known for acting as antioxidants. So there's cocoa bean polyphenol extract, that's similar to the antioxidants you find in dark chocolate. There's citrus bioflavonoid extracts, there's organic wheatgrass powder, there's green tea leaf extract, there's grapeseed extract, and there's a bunch of other stuff like that. So this product does have a lot of ingredients that are known for their antioxidant content. That said, a product's antioxidant capacity is something you can actually measure. There's something called the ORAC scale, which some competing products use to determine the antioxidant strength of a product. Like you could compare their number to the amount of antioxidants found in, say, a cup of blueberries. My point being, you can quantify antioxidants, and the Athletic Greens doesn't have an ORAC scale. They haven't associated that number. So I can't say precisely how strong the antioxidant effect of one serving of this is. Nonetheless, there really are a ton of ingredients here with antioxidant abilities. And there are a lot of different things you can do to improve your digestive health. You can just eat more fiber. That's a pretty simple one. You can manage your stress, which is a much more complicated one. But there are also some things you can consume that could potentially have a positive impact on on your digestive health. So that's something that Athletic Greens has really focused on, which is nice. One of the things is this contains digestive enzymes. Like one of the ones that this focuses on prominently is bromelain. That's an enzyme that's found in pineapple and some other fruits. It's kind of the reason why when you consume a lot of pineapple, you may like have experienced a burning sensation on the inside of your mouth, and that's because it's used as a meat tenderizer. It's kind of breaking you down. It's a digestive enzyme. It helps to break down foods. So a lot of people do consume bromelain to help them absorb nutrients better. Like it's not super uncommon to see people consuming it with antibiotics to help the antibiotics absorb a little bit more effectively. I'm not a doctor, but this is like, it has been observed that some people do take it for this reason. Another thing is that it may also help to reduce damage in the gastrointestinal tract, which is sometimes why it's sometimes prescribed for people who have ulcerative colitis and things like that. So yeah, bromelain, digestive enzymes, that could help you to absorb nutrients more effectively. Then there's probiotic bacteria in here as well, which is really interesting. There are 7 billion probiotic bacteria here from 2 different groups, 2 different families of bacteria. Now, there is a lot of evidence showing that a large and diverse group of probiotic bacteria in your gut is linked to a bunch of different benefits. Digestive health, namely, they can also link to improved nutrient absorption, possibly better insulin sensitivity and fat loss, maybe even better mental health. There are some studies that have shown a correlation between a healthy, diverse gut and lower levels of anxiety and stress and stuff like that. That research is pretty new. I'm not being definitive on that, but it is pretty promising. So a lot of people are really interested in probiotic bacteria these days. It's always nice to see that in a supplement like this. Finally, there's prebiotic fiber. So prebiotic fiber, that is considered like food for the probiotic bacteria living in your belly. And consuming prebiotic fiber has been linked to a lot of benefits as well. So again, improved nutrient absorption, also immunity. There have also been some links with mental health as well. So this contains artichoke leaf extract, burdock root powder, and other things like that. So Athletic Greens, in addition to those vitamins and minerals mentioned earlier and the antioxidants, it has a kind of a 3-pronged approach to digestive health. You've got enzymes, probiotics, and prebiotics. So I find that pretty impressive. The last thing I really wanted to emphasize with regard to the ingredients here is the adaptogens. So adaptogens refers to food or herbs or plants that you can consume that have been shown to potentially improve the way the body responds to stress. And what's interesting is that refers to the stress you experience from like a really tough day at the office or just general anxiety. But it can also refer to the stress the body experiences from like a really tough workout. So the ingredients here, there's rhodiola, for instance, rhodiola rosea, which has been shown in some studies to improve endurance and recovery, as well as focus, like things that are hampered by a lot of stress. Mushrooms are also pretty well known as adaptogens. Not always, that doesn't always refer to just your average button mushrooms you get, but stuff like reishi mushrooms are here. And there have been some studies with reishi mushrooms to show that they can improve anything from subjective well-being to immunity. Again, things that get affected by high levels of stress. So I found that really interesting. I do want to emphasize that there are other adaptogens in here as well. There's ashwagandha, there's astragalus, but with all of these adaptogens, these are in proprietary blends, so I don't know exactly how much of each ingredient it contains, so it's a little bit tough to work out the effective dose. Nonetheless, they may have a synergistic effect, and in any case, they're a pretty impressive breadth of ingredients that have been linked to a better ability to handle stress. Now, as far as the price goes, I do really want to emphasize that the price can change depending on the season or the sale, or the strategy, things like that. Right now, this is pretty much considered the standard size bag you're going to get. It's got 30 servings. If you just get a one-off bag, like on its own, it's going to be between $85 and $100 for one bag, so that comes to a bit over $3 per serving. The price drops if you subscribe. If you get like a monthly shipment, the price drops by roughly $20 a bag. You can look at more like $2.40 to $2.90 per serving. And you can also get these 2 at a time, which is also cheaper than getting 1 at a time. If you want to get these pouches here, these are single serve pouches. They're a bit more convenient, a bit more expensive. You can just get a set of 20 if you want, so that is an advantage. But if you are getting the pouches, you're looking at between like $3.50 and $4 per serving. So Athletic Greens is a bit more expensive than other competitors out in the market. The average green superfood powder, in my experience, is like between $1 and $2 per serving. This is, you're looking at between $2.50 and $3.50 per serving, roughly speaking. But I do want to emphasize that they have a 60-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it, and it is more nutritious and has more ingredients than the standard green superfood powder. So you may find that price worth it. All right, so what did I like about Athletic Greens? First of all, it tastes very remarkable. As I mentioned earlier, it's not uncommon for a green superfood powder to taste a bit like soil. This is actually very enjoyable. I actually kind of like to savor it, to sip it, which is, again, is very unusual for a green superfood powder. The vitamins are pretty impressive. I mean, 700% of your vitamin C, over 300% of your vitamin E. It's true that some people don't like to have that much vitamin E, but nonetheless, this is, I always say it has more vitamins than your average meal replacement powder. The minerals aren't fantastic, but you know, there's a lot of zinc. And what I really think is the most impressive thing about this product isn't just the vitamins, it's the fact that Athletic Greens has this multi-pronged approach to improving your health. So I mean, yes, there's the nutrition, but there's also there's a lot of ingredients with a lot of antioxidants. There's also ingredients linked to improve digestive health. There's also adaptogens. All the things just sort of come together to make it a really interesting sort of holistic approach to your overall health, which I found really impressive with this product. Another thing that I didn't mention earlier is that it also doesn't have any artificial ingredients, so no artificial sweeteners or anything like that. And it's very low in allergens. So there's no gluten, dairy, corn, egg, peanuts, animal byproducts, lactose, sucrose, or dextrose. So it's gonna be pretty crowd pleasing. There are a few things you might not be quite so crazy about with Athletic Greens. Number one is the price. That's probably the main stumbling block for most people. Athletic Greens is unabashedly a premium product. That's how they sort of justify it when people criticize them for the price. I do want to emphasize again, this does have more vitamins and ingredients than a lot of its competitors, but nonetheless, you do really have to kind of wrangle with that price. You do have to accept that if you want to try this out. Another thing, I think it could have been a little bit more transparent. As I mentioned earlier, it doesn't mention the ORAC scale, so I don't know exactly how strong the antioxidant effect is. They haven't really quantified that. On a similar note, most of the ingredients, you know, from the spirulina to the astragalus to everything else, is most of the ingredients here are in proprietary blends, so I don't know how much of each ingredient it contains. That might be frustrating for some folks. And I'm also not 100% convinced of the dosages here sometimes. Like, so for example, there's astragalus root powder extract here that a normal, like a common dose for that is like 250 milligrams. There's some reishi mushroom powder in here. A common dose for that is 1 gram. But both those ingredients are sitting in a blend of 154 milligrams with a bunch of other ingredients. So those aren't reaching the normal doses people use when they're taking these things as supplements. That said, they may work synergistically with other ingredients to produce that desired effect. There are very smart people at Athletic Greens that are probably working on that. But nonetheless, yeah, I would just like a bit more transparency with the dosages, so I could have thought about this a bit more. All right, those are my thoughts on Athletic Greens Ultimate Daily. For the full written review, just Google BarBend plus Athletic Greens.